Welcome to Lesson 2 of the Basics of Immigration Law course. I'm glad of having you here. In this lesson, we'll be diving into the electronic system for travel authorization in the U.S. Let's get started. Let's go over the U.S. Visa Waiver Program. VWP allows citizens of participating countries to travel to the United States without a visa. It allows travelers to stay in the U.S. for up to 90 days for tourism or business. To obtain an ESTA, the applicant must apply online through the electronic system for travel authorization website. This program offers an easier and quicker way to visit the U.S. for short-term stays. If the traveler is from a country that does not participate in this program, the option is to apply for a tourist visa and go through the interview process at the U.S. Embassy or consulate abroad. Now let's go into the eligibility for the Visa Waiver Program. To qualify for the VWP, the traveler must be a citizen or national of a participating country, have a valid biometric passport, be traveling for tourism or business purposes only, not for study, work, or immigration, stay for 90 days or less, and have an approved ESTA before boarding the flight. For more information on ESTA and VWP, visit the U.S. Department of Homeland Security website. Another requirement is that travelers need to apply for the ESTA at least 72 hours before departure, although it's recommended to apply as early as possible. The ESTA is typically valid for 2 years or until the traveler's passport expires. Approval is usually granted in minutes, but it's essential to check for any issues before traveling. On the right side of the slide, you can find a screenshot of the first step to apply for an ESTA. Let's go into the travel restrictions under the VWP. Travelers under the VWP cannot change their status while in the U.S., for example. They cannot switch to a student or work visa. They cannot stay for longer than 90 days or work or study during their visit. If a traveler overstays or violates the VWP conditions, they may face future entry restrictions or denial of ESTA. Let's see the participating countries in the VWP. The Visa Waiver Program currently includes more than 40 countries, including France, Germany, Japan, South Korea, Australia, etc. Citizens of these countries do not need a visa for short stays in the U.S. for tourism or business. Check the full list of participating countries before applying for ESTA. To check the list, go to the U.S. Department of State webpage. Now let's go over the questions asked to a traveler when applying for ESTA. The application requires the traveler to provide basic personal information, including full name, nationality, and passport details, travel plans, and U.S. contact information like hotel and tour guide, and answering a series of yes/no questions like criminal background, health issues, etc. More information is available at the U.S. Customs and Border Protection webpage. Let's see the ESTA approval and validity. Once approved, ESTA allows multiple entries into the U.S. within the validity period, which is up to 2 years. However, the final decision on admission is made by U.S. Customs and Border Protection at the port of entry. If entry is denied, travelers must apply for a visitor visa. What happens if the traveler overstays or violates VWP terms? Overstaying or violating VWP terms may result in a ban from the Visa Waiver Program or a denial of entry to the U.S. on future visits. It's important to depart the U.S. within the 90-day limit. For more information on the consequences of violating VWP terms, visit the U.S. Customs and Border Protection webpage. Let's see the difference between an ESTA and a visa. ESTA is not a visa, it is a waiver of a visa and does not provide a stamp on the passport. For illustration on the screen, you can see an example of what a visa stamp looks like. When eligible, the ESTA is the first option because it is easy to get. But when the traveler is not eligible, applying for a visa is the other way to get admission to the United States. Here's a brief recap of Lesson 5. The Visa Waiver Program offers an easier way to travel to the U.S. for short visits. Be sure to apply for ESTA and meet all eligibility requirements. Violating the program could have serious consequences for future travel to the U.S. That wraps up this lesson. Thanks for watching!